Hello, welcome back to Aether. This is Satomi and Paul from sakaso.ca. So it was great having Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, I guess evening for other people, or even Monday for other people. But yeah, so welcome back. And then we're going to cover something new, something old, something always the same, same old challenges that we face. So, and especially today, we're continuing here with psychic, but today's specific topic for whatever, 55.
Yeah, episode 55 of Aether is the 14th in the How to Heal with the Psychic series. Yeah, it's how to heal and to grow regardless, right? No matter what. For the question here is, for what am I responsible? So if I come to you and I'm working with you as a psychic, or if I'm just working with people in general, right? Just in my life, how much of what of the situation am I responsible? Like, where's my responsibilities? What's mine and what's somebody else's? Yeah. Because sometimes we don't pay enough attention to that, and that can get us into trouble.
Yeah, it can go either this way or this way, and it's for lots of people, it's hard to find a balanced way, right? So,
and you end up with relationships that are out of balance. You end up yourself out of balance, that kind of thing, and that can lead to drama and all kinds of negative interactions.
Physical issues.
Yeah, and health issues. Yeah. So, this is an ongoing theme with what we do. Is that those subconscious programs, those limiting subconscious beliefs that affect your relationship, that also ends up directly affecting that same one, right? If it creates a negative relationship here, that affects my health. Because if I get upset one way or another, that gets me, I have stomach problems. I have all kinds of things that happen. A lot of pain, a lot of body pain.
Yeah, and if it's continuous thing, the negative relationship, and you're continuously carrying that negative energy, creating maybe started as a stomach pain, but it becomes bigger issue.
Much bigger. All kinds of health problems can come out of that. People can be in so much emotional pain that it ends up becoming very serious, like cancer or whatever, right? And then also the same dynamic. You can talk about the same kind of dynamic from relationships that can affect your ability to try to create abundance in your life, right? So if we're always fighting, how are we going to work a business together, for example, right? How are we, if I'm not able to open up and share with people and interact with them in a natural way and network and just meet and greet people, how do I create contacts? How do I build my network and then open up doors of opportunity for business, right? For my career, for business, whatever it is, that ability to socialize in a healthy way is a big part of someone's ability to succeed in their lives, right? And create abundance and all that kind of stuff. And very wisely, there's a saying that says your network is your net worth, right? So that's why we spend some time on relationships in Aether and with the work that we do with people in general. So yeah, and as always, questions and comments are welcome, right? So please, chip in here with any, say hello, say give us any kind of feedback on what we're saying that you're curious about, any questions, and that just adds to the conversation and makes it a better overall experience here. So yeah, chip in, and if you end up liking this video, subscribe to our Sakaso YouTube channel, and share and like the video and all that good stuff.
Okay, so where are we starting?
So where are we starting with this issue? With the what am I responsible?
Yeah. So like simply, if we pick two opposite sides, right? Like a responsible, the one who's not taking their responsibility is like, oh, it's not my fault, it's their fault, right? So you're throwing away that responsibility and not owning it at all, right? Blaming others. So that's one unhealthy example, right? And the other one, opposite side, is it's all my fault, right? So it can go this way. If you lose the balance, it can go all the way to, oh, it's all their fault, or it's all my fault, right? And you can tell that either way it's not healthy. And you might not be going all the way, but you might be somewhere in between, not balanced, right? Everybody's it's because it's not so easy to be balanced in so many different things. So you can we want to challenge ourselves and check, are we balanced, right? Am I taking responsibility for what I'm responsible for, or am I taking too much responsibility and hurting myself that way, right? So checking with yourself, honestly, it's always the key, right?
Yeah, honesty, huh? There's a lot. That's a very loaded word. So, how do you mean honesty when you're talking about responsibility like that?
Let's say, do you want to use the example that you use for?
We can. Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's a good place to start.
So, like, this is the actual conversation we had. The bedtime. Like, I always from the beginning, I set the bedtime. I want 10 o'clock. I know for lots of people it's too early, but 10 o'clock in bed, so the house is shut down and we can relax. Don't have to fall asleep, but then just we're in bed and it's 100% relaxing time, right? So that was my request from the beginning, and Paul agreed. He could disagree, but he agreed. So that's the first responsibility he took. He agreed instead of disagreeing it and finding a different way. He agreed. So it's his responsibility. He made a choice, right? And I made a request, and request was received. So it's a responsibility for him to keep it. And it has been a challenge for him for years and years. And then again, like was it yesterday? Again, it hasn't been keeping that 10 o'clock for long time. I've been patient because that's just my request. It's what I want for my health, what I want, and I know that's not what he wants. So sometimes he doesn't follow. Now if whenever I can, I'll be patient and I'll be okay. This and that happens, or he cannot make it, and I do my best. But so it was getting too much, and I said, "So are you still trying to go to bed at 10 o'clock? Is it still a thing, or you just that's not the thing anymore, and then you just throw that out of the window?" And then it wasn't going negative way, but the old Paul would say, "What are you talking about? I'm doing everything I can, and I have so much work, and I cannot finish everything, and then there's no way I can go to bed at 10 o'clock, and you blaming me, and you are accusing me for not doing this, and then it's because it's all my fault. I'm doing all wrong." He could go down that way easily, and I was like, "I didn't say that. I'm not saying that it's your fault. I'm simply asking that, yeah, are you doing it? Are you accepting my request? Or you want to do a different way?" It's just simple question. I'm just curious that where he is at, but he can just take it like I'm accusing him, and blaming him, right? So that unhealthy programming could take him, right? And then so we tend to take all the responsibility because everybody else pushing all the responsibilities at him. That's what you used to feel, and then everything is my responsibility, and then you are telling me that I'm not doing a good job. I'm ruining everything, right? So that was taking responsibility, instead of having a boundary, taking too much responsibility, and putting yourself into a corner, right? So that was one unhealthy way to take it, so unbalanced way, right?
She's describing one of our fights. Well, actually, quite a few of them. This was a long running thing. We had so many fights about this, about bedtime, just bedtime.
Yeah, that's
not
just
not a big thing,
Yeah.
really, for most people.
Yeah.
Just bedtime.
But this is something I really need and really want.
It's not as though we fight about everything. It was just a lot of the time about bedtime.
Yeah, it's very important for my mental health, and he now he gets it. At the beginning, he didn't get it, and so he would have taken like I'm telling you, and you have to do it this way, and then you're not doing it right. So that was the case, the situation he got in. But the other way, not taking responsibility is the other unhealthy way. Instead of taking all the responsibility, right? If you were a person who doesn't take responsibility, let's say different Paul in the same situation, and I asked him like, "You're not going to bed at 10 o'clock," and it's like, "Oh, because this is selfish, stupid rule that you made up, and why I have to follow this," and the different Paul B could mad at me, and it's all my fault that I'm being selfish.
Alternate universe Paul might do that, but I don't think I ever did that one.
You never did that,
Yeah.
but
Because I did accept that responsibility. That was my problem, was
but
accepting
and then
too much.
but you get really upset about that me pushing responsibility on you.
That's the way I
right?
felt. Like it.
Yeah.
Because and it's probably reasonable to help people understand why I was like that. You kind of talked about it a little bit, but basically, as in the environment I grew up in, I was always getting responsibility pushed onto me that was, let's just say, it was very questionable whether it really belonged to me. And then on the other side of it, I was automatically always the one who would see if there was responsibility put out on the table somewhere, I would go and grab it. Because I knew it wouldn't happen otherwise. And I really desperately wanted the situation to work out. So in order to make it work, somebody was going to have to step in, take action, and try to get the important things done, and try to also be there to try to reconcile people when they were, having their differences. So I was always trying to be that bridge.
Yeah, but did it work?
It did not work at all.
So like taking all the responsibility, it doesn't work anyway.
It doesn't work anyway.
Yeah.
If people don't want to work together, you can't be the glue when they don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't. It took me a very, very long time to figure that out. It's kind of I didn't figure it out until I kind of more woke up in general, and because it was automatic behavior for me, and that's why it led into our relationship. It came into our relationship is that it was automatic behavior. So what's automatic behavior? It's subconscious beliefs. So in my case, I had a subconscious belief that that when someone would say something that there was a gap in the situation that wasn't being taken care of,
something's not working,
something's not right about the situation, I would interpret that as them blaming me that for things failing and for not doing enough, and that I'd failed again. And because that's the way the dynamic worked where I grew up. And so you just had to mention that there was, a gap between when our actual bedtime and 10 o'clock. And then I would interpret that like 10 steps ahead as you blaming me, right? So it doesn't make any sense, like logically what I was doing. But it's just, like we're talking about all the time. It's subconscious beliefs, programmed behavior, automatic programmed behavior, and so it was just baggage I was carrying, and so we had to sort that out. Right? You were very patient with me. You didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
You made that known.
Instant, like anger comes. Yeah. Right.
You made that known.
Yeah.
But you were very patient at the same time in helping. In being there in the best way you could, to help me slowly figure it out and take the pieces apart, and to work on the subconscious programming, let that go, and to be much more able to meet that goal with you. Right? I'm not saying I'm perfect with it yet, because I'm not. Yeah, it's still a challenge. Even after all this work, it's still a challenge.
Yeah,
but there's complexity in our life, but anyway. So
so like, because it's in subconscious mind, you are not aware, you can't see it, right? It's like you have stuff on your back and you can't see it. You would never able to see it, right? And so you need other people to see it.
Yeah.
And so you go through that reading, and then I can show you, hey, this is on your back, this is what you're carrying. And then sometimes you can feel it when you focus on your back. Yeah, it's right, that something is not right, right, kind of thing. And then that's the subconscious mind, and then we can work on subconscious mind, and you let go of that stuff that you're
Mhm.
carrying,
Mhm.
right? And then it's improving a lot. That's why it didn't go into an argument last night. So that was good. There's a little tension, but it didn't go into fight. And so that's one way, that unhealthy way, that everything is my fault.
Yeah.
And the other one, we started to
So
cover.
alternative Paul.
Yeah.
So alternate universe Paul would say, "This is just that stupid rule you
it's
have.
your fault.
It's your fault for having that thing."
Yeah, and you just being selfish, and it's nonsense, and you gotta fix it.
Yeah.
Right, and then so
I might say, "You're the one who has a problem with this, so it's your fault." Right.
Yeah.
I might say something like that. Right.
Oh, you crazy.
Yeah.
Right, and so that is not taking responsibility at all, and blaming others. You're not doing your part, right? And if that person, not me, being really selfish and not thinking about others, and just ordering this other Paul to do whatever makes no sense, but just do it, then sure, you can blame me, and you can tell me that that's your problem, you have to change it. Yeah, that would work, but I don't think I'm doing that. I'm just presenting this is what I need for my health, mental health especially. And 10 o'clock, because I get up early, I cannot change the starting time later, and then push the bedtime later. My starting time is set. So according to the starting time, the bedtime just is ended up at around 10 o'clock. It's healthy bedtime for me. Right, so I explain that and why I want quiet by 10. Like him working late, it's like I can feel the energy, and then I cannot relax. Right, and him. Yes, I'm being picky here, but I'm explaining, like him talking to someone on the phone around that time. It's like I feel like I have that person in our home when I want to relax. I can feel the energy, and I feel like I cannot relax. So I don't want him on the phone and talking to someone when.
You don't just mean on talk phone either.
Yeah, texting. It's
if I'm messaging somebody, you're like, right, I can hear the you said that to me, I can hear the other person, they're right here in the room. So there's so much of an empathic person's part in this whole thing, that other people, I'm sure, appreciate it, and they can get it at least to a certain degree, because being an empath isn't a unique weird thing, right? It's like I think it's a natural part of being a human, but to different degrees, right? So but
so like a texting, it depends. Like if they are having very peaceful talk, then it wouldn't bother me so much. But if they're talking about some stuff, some issue, and there's frustration or some negative energy, and then there's like I cannot relax, and can you stop that, or can you go somewhere else and do it?
There was one time I was messaging somebody who that person's personality is over the top, right? And that's one of the ones you called out and said, I can hear this person. Are you going to stop sometime soon? I'd like to get to sleep.
It's, and then not just that person, but from you too, that your response, the energy. I can feel it, and it's just the dynamic of the energy, and
Yeah.
then it's feel like it's right there. That guy is sitting right here in our bedroom, and then they're talking, kind of thing. How can I sleep? Having a stranger guy to me sitting in a bedroom, so no. So I have specific way of winding down. Like I want, so that's why like there's some activity going, I cannot relax. So I want him done working, like it doesn't work, and so not much texting, just a little bit is fine. I'll just let him do it a little bit, but if it's going beyond 5-10 minutes, I'm like right. And so anyway, so I have special needs. But
That's a good way to say it.
But he he said, you say you understand, and then you respect that, and so you want to do your best.
I'm just going to take a little sidebar for people, just for the audience. If you're the kind of person who is like the last person in bed at night, I think that's an indicator that you have you receive a lot of stuff psychically. Because I get that. I was always the person in the house that would go to bed last, right? Because I needed it to settle down, like you were saying, right? Yeah. So I got that part, but I also, being a guy or something, that I forget about that to some degree when I'm wanting to work late or something, and yeah. So,
but yeah. Anyway, so where were we? So yeah, like I have this request. It's always a request. I keep it clear. This is my request. I'm not ordering you. This is a request, and I really want it. I don't have so many other requests, but this is the big one, because it's everyday thing. It's I want good sleep, otherwise I get off balance and overwhelmed easily. And this is first thing I need to start a balanced day, right? So it's a request, and but he can take it different way than I'm ordering him and being selfish. But once you accept the request, and once you agree to do it, then that's your responsibility. You cannot just turn the table when you didn't do it, you didn't follow it, and then start pointing the finger at me like, no, it's just you're selfish. And well, you agreed, you made a choice, right? That is your responsibility. You gotta own it, right? You cannot just throw everything at the other person and forget that what you said and what you agreed, right? So that is something that you want to check with you and where you are. Are you really balanced? And knowing how much responsibility is yours and how much is theirs, and you see that you really see the line and you keep in the line in a balanced way, that you are the only one who can do it truly. Other people can tell you, but other people have their thing, that then they might have the borderline responsibility this way or that way, and then they're telling you, now that's your responsibility. Is that true? Right? So you can use other people's opinion, but not 100%. You have to come to you.
Yeah, because some people want to push all their responsibility onto you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're willing to take it up, just like I was, that's not healthy. If you just agree to it automatically, right? So sure, in certain circumstances, maybe it's the right thing. maybe you can make a compromise, whatever.
Mhm.
But doing that automatically, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, because it's unhealthy and it's actually creating your pain, creating some issue in you, right? Either you're not taking responsibility or you're taking all the responsibility. It doesn't matter. Either way, you are creating issue in you, and then you are disempowering yourself, right? So that's why you want to find out imbalanced way, and then what's so how you can find if it's imbalanced or balanced, right? Asking yourself, but how, right? Is like let's say the one who takes all the responsibility and then blame themselves is like just just is it really all my fault? There's not so many things that is all your fault in the world, the everyday life, right? There's always somebody else involved, something else involved, and then if somebody else is involved, they have their part, the responsibility. There's something that they are responsible to. If you are 100% doing all on your own and nothing else involved, nobody else involved, I cannot think so much situation, but there's then maybe you can own the responsibility, but it's not. If you are always feeling it's all your fault so often, then you are unbalanced,
Yeah.
right?
So I think one thing to maybe clarify is that I'm always responsible 100% for the decisions that I make.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily responsible for the situation 100%, and I'm not necessarily responsible for what other people say I'm responsible for, right? And I'm not responsible necessarily for all the things that I think I'm responsible for.
Yeah, and then
right? So those are all different little aspects to it.
Outcome, you're not responsible for outcome.
Yeah.
Outcome, it just happens with all those whatever happening, and yeah, right? So you doing your best, 100%, 200%. Outcome might be not what you wanted, and it's not your responsibility. It just happens. And what you can do is, so you sit back, and what was, let's say, I don't know, this going to bed is that a good example for this? We can try it. So you not going to bed, or I can be stand on my side and then taking on all the responsibility, because I'm not being flexible, I'm being strict, and I'm getting frustrated at all, not going to bed. Right? I can turn a finger at me and blame myself easily too, right? But maybe I can go that way. It's easier because it's my thing. So I can attack myself by doing, I'm just being selfish, and I know, because I know he doesn't want to go to bed at 10. It's clearly known. But so I'm just being selfish, and it's unreasonable, and I should be more flexible, or maybe I should try to stay up and do something with him, or right, all those things. But really, do I really want to do that? Am I pushing? And if I do that, if I say, forget about bedtime and you can stay up all night or whatever, am I going to be okay? And the answer is no. So, okay, I really want this one happening. And so this is my request. And I did make a request and he did accept the request. Okay, he accept the request means that is his responsibility. So I'm separating, right? I making a request, it's my responsibility, right? If I'm not saying anything and I'm suffering, yes, I'm not doing my part, but I'm expressing my need and what I want. That's my responsibility. I chose to talk to you, and then when I talk to you, you accept it. That was your responsibility, so I don't need to own. And you said that you're gonna do it, and if he's not doing it, it's not my responsibility anymore. It's he made a decision of doing it, right? So I step back and I go through those things. That yes, this is my responsibility, and I did that part. I did my part. Is he doing his part? No. Okay, right? So separate, and once you separate, and you're not attacking yourself, right? And then again, okay, he's not doing it, and then next step is next decision is do I talk to him again, remind him again, or I be quiet, right? And then first few nights I'll make a decision to be quiet, be patient, okay? And the next day I'm going to be patient because I know it's not what he wants. He's doing it for me. And then next day, maybe just say something. And that what happened the other day. I said, I just warned him, like, this is important. I understand. I understand you've been having busy week, but bedtime is really important. So I express what I'm feeling. So that's my responsibility. If I don't say anything, he wouldn't get it. So my responsibility is communicate. And I did that. And then his responsibility is to respond to what I'm sharing. And you said you understood and you want to get back into the routine and going to bed 10 o'clock. Okay, that was good. The next day, not going to bed at 10, and then, okay, I choose not to say anything because I just said something the day before, and the next day, not happening, okay, and then every day it's a decision, and I own the decision what to say or not to say, right? And then he can come back as a response to say something else, not just agreeing is the only thing, right? But he chooses to agree, then that's his responsibility, right? So I separate them, and then not so I don't attack myself, disempower myself, and then trying to find the balance, right? Um, and then so that's how I keep balance. And then if I'm off balance, and then um, I can blame myself, and this is only because my selfish needs, and then I just have to suck it up, or I just have to suck up this pain, and this is overwhelming, but it's my responsibility, and I have to deal with it on my own, right? And that is that is really painful, and then you are isolating yourself, not getting any help, and you are isolating yourself, and then creating pain in you, and then you just making yourself stuck in pain, right? And then not making decision to communicate, right? But why you're not making decision to communicate is because I'm scared that you're gonna say something that I'm selfish, or like I'm not just that's unreasonable, or whatever negative thing that I might receive, and I'm crazy. Like
You just don't want to receive that negative emotion pushback, because
Right.
that's very painful to you.
yeah. So to avoid that, and then I will take all responsibility. So taking all the responsibility is because I'm afraid of something, right? Afraid of
That pushback.
in
Or a
this
fight,
situation.
the possibility
Yeah.
of a fight.
Right,
Right?
in
You're
this
afraid of it.
situation, like if you say something and it's gonna come at you more, and then so it's easier to take all the responsibility and attack myself instead of getting attacked by others, right? But still, attack is attack. It's hurting you, and it's not healthy, right? So there's a fear in there why you taking all the responsibility, and you want to find that fear, and why what I'm afraid of,
Yeah.
right?
And like in my case, I was always taking full responsibility when I was growing up, because I was afraid that the situation could turn into a fight. I was afraid that people would get angry with me. I would take responsibility for it falling apart for any reason, even if it was other people, because I would try to take the responsibility for making things work, for being the bridge between people and trying to get things done, and having the family work.
Yeah.
But
because of the fear.
Because I was afraid of there being another big blow up in the family, right? And I was afraid of the fight, even just a standalone fight. I was afraid of people thinking badly of me, right? Blaming me, all that pushback, right? So yeah, I was making decisions out of fear, taking responsibility out of fear, and that's not a good idea, right?
Yeah. So there's a fear. It's a fear response is what's happening, and you want to find what is the fear, what you're afraid of, and that's the start point, right? You ask yourself why I'm doing this, right? And what am I afraid of? And then you can go into your subconscious block, or I'm afraid of this. And then you can work on removing the subconscious block, and then you can be free from the fear, and then you can go into more balanced way of living, right? So that's what you want to do. And on the other side, so we're talking about the situation, you take all the responsibility, it's all my fault. The other side, so if it's my situation, if I'm blaming other people, not taking my responsibility, like it's all your fault. You didn't come to bed 10 o'clock, and you cannot even make a promise, and you're worthless, and you're not putting any effort. I can say all those things, right? And
Thank you for not saying those things. She's wonderful about that kind of thing.
Throwing all those things at him, or pushing all the responsibility at him. I could do that, and forget about all what why I need this is it's I wouldn't say selfish, but my special needs that not so many people has, and but he agreed to do it because he cares, and so I if I'm pushing all the responsibility and being angry at him, that the part he is doing his best, it's not resulting as not as I wanted, but still some part he is doing it, and I'm denying everything, and it's the relationship. It's not gonna go well, right? And any situation that if you are throwing all the responsibility, it's your fault. It's not my fault. It's your fault. If you feel that way, it is a red flag. Nothing is my fault, right? If there is a balanced way, and you don't feel that that part is not responsible for you, but if you see it's all their fault, if you feeling that, and you feel that lots of times, very often, and it's a red flag, right? Because you're not owning it, and so you want to challenge yourself. Is it really all their fault?
Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying that you don't people throw out the blame when they're afraid of the blame landing on them.
Yeah,
right?
that is a fear I was gonna go next. But yeah.
That's where that's where I thought you were going.
Yeah.
So if you think that the blame is going to end up on you, you lash out and you push all the blame onto the other person
because you're afraid of being blamed,
afraid of the judgment.
Yeah, and then you don't want to take the responsibility. You are afraid of taking responsibility, right? And then you are subconsciously avoiding the responsibility and avoiding owning it, and then you are saying that it's all your fault.
And specifically in this example, it also could be that you're afraid that this bedtime thing not happening on time would happen again and again and again forever, right? And that you would suffer because you don't get enough sleep. So if you're afraid of suffering, you could blame me as well, right? For that, for setting you up for that. Yeah, and that's not healthy.
So either way, right? You blame yourself for all the things, or you blame others for all the things. Either way, why it's happening is actually because you have some kind of fear, right? That makes things unbalanced in you, and so you want to challenge yourself. And then is this start point is this all my fault or all their fault? That, like I said, nothing really is gonna be only one person's fault. That's really rare. I cannot think of a situation that's that rare that it's only one person's fault. If you feel that way, that's an opportunity for you to go in a little bit deep and start to practice separating the responsibility, right? And then once you start feeling that, okay, actually this can be their responsibility, and this can be my responsibility, and you start to feel that, and then next step is why I'm doing this automatically, right?
So it's always like just many times when this applies, and this will come up again in other episodes, I'm sure. But whenever you're feeling bad, so you're either feeling bad because you feel like it's all your fault, or you're feeling bad because you feel like the other person blamed you, or any of those things. All those negative things that you could be feeling there. Just ask yourself what you're afraid of, right? Just if you want to understand what's going on. Yeah. Thanks for sending in the question here, Kim. So I'm going to put this up on here. Wow, I do this all too often with my husband, and I tend to settle and absorb the anger and frustration. In a given situation, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yes, that's very common, and that's why we're talking to it here, Kim. And thank you. Thanks for your feedback, because this relations, we're going to dive into this in future episodes as well in other ways, but like this relationship stuff is hard, right? When someone else does something, you might be really guilty of something, but when somebody and you're kind of fine with that, when someone else does it, it's like, oh my God, this is intolerable. So that's what relationships are really good for, is acting as a mirror for yourself in learning that way indirectly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what am I afraid of? That is so either both sides, there's a fear, right? So you want to find a fear.
Yeah.
Then you can work on letting go of the fear, and that's the way that's the path to be balanced.
Yes.
Right. So
when you're in a fight, if both people are upset, they're both afraid of something. Something in there, and you can ask that question of yourself, right? And then that leads to progress. Probably ask it when you settle down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're upset, it's
kind of hard.
Find the proper answer, and when you ask again, this we were talking about it at the beginning, like being honest. Don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
Dead honest to yourself. Don't justify. No justification, no excuses. Those ones not gonna help. You have to be deadly honest to yourself and use the word ruthless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're the only one who can help yourself. And if you're fooling yourself, there's no way that you can help. And if you're in either side, you are creating suffering in you. If you're not balanced, you're creating suffering in you. Why you want to keep creating suffering in you? So, and the way to reduce suffering is being honest to yourself, right? So
and I've mentioned this in a previous episode about being ruthless, and that's what it means. It doesn't mean be ruthless as a ruler and hurt people. That's not what it means. Being ruthless in the context of spiritual development. I mean, in the context of spiritual development and healing and growth, being ruthless, it's a Toltec thing, and it's basically you don't put up with your own BS. You challenge yourself. And you absolutely have no time for your own BS, because so many of us are so loving of our own. Oh, this makes me look good, right? I can tell a story in a fight where I make myself look good, and ego just loves that stuff, right? And sure, it in a way, I'm feeling better about myself in the moment. I'm actually stealing energy from that situation from you if you buy it, and it's not a very good way to go about doing things. But if you carry that forward, you're just creating a monster of yourself. You're turning yourself into a monster,
and then you are hurting yourself.
Yeah. You're going to create karma and suffering. Does it so? No. Just be ruthless with yourself, and then you can move forward.
Yeah. You might feel good for that moment,
I scored that point.
Yeah, but then you like monster becomes bigger and that it's hurting you from inside, right? So you don't want that, and you don't be fooled by that monster and by the ego, by the little, hey, I want this argument. No, there's no winning in the argument. Winning or losing. And if you feel like you win that argument, and then you have to ask yourself, what's the off balance, imbalanced part, and what you're afraid of, right? So
I just want to check here. Do you feel like you covered this point with what you're saying?
Don't take things personally or blame others,
so.
or worse yet.
I don't think you went into the control part, because that's taken it even a little further from what you're saying. If you're blaming others, that's one thing to try to, score that point and win the situation. But then if you go even further, you can try to control others, right, and manipulate them. But that's even worse. Boy, you're really getting the most of
you
that.
cannot really separate them, but that's controlling issue is happening, controlling, and so you are controlled to avoid the responsibility, right? You're already doing it. So
Kim has another one here.
What happens if being honest with yourself doesn't present a reasonable resolution with your partner? It's starting with your own relationship with yourself, right? So that's what we're talking about. And you want to create a good relationship with yourself, not fooling yourself, being honest with yourself, and then accept and appreciate and love yourself. You want to start from there. And then if you are taking all the responsibility or not taking responsibility, you are off balance from that connection, loving yourself, and the good relationship with yourself is off. You're not creating a good relationship with yourself. And if you don't have the good relationship with yourself, you cannot create any good relationship outside. It's not gonna happen. So it might not have the like instant resolution with your partner. It might not happen instantly, like right away, but it will come. It will follow. But
if your partner wants to, right?
That's that too.
I mean, I screwed up so many times in the same way with this kind of stuff, and Satomi's been very patient and still coming back to the basics and showing them to me and all that kind of stuff and helping me through it. And no, you didn't get the resolution that you wanted.
No,
for so long.
But
I'm working on it. It's not an easy one for me, so it takes some time.
And like I said,
but if you don't even have that, if the partner doesn't even want to address it,
and then
that's harder.
It's harder, and either I come up with different way, right? Let go of the desire wanting to go to bed 10 o'clock. Maybe I'll find different room to sleep. Or you just I give up. You sleep there every night. I'll sleep here every night. Right? Just far away. If he's gonna work till late, I don't want to hear it. So I don't want to be side by side. We'll be going like upstairs to this corner, and then you will hear the different corner.
I think if that happened, eventually I'd figure it out because I'd get lonely and want to fix the situation. So that might actually work as a strategy.
But anyway, so like it's a process for us, especially this one. But we can see like it didn't go into argument yesterday. So that is a huge improvement. Used to be just about the bedtime. It went into a big argument and then yelling and those things happen, right? So it's not like a perfect outcome that we have yet, but there's the change is happening, and so yeah, change doesn't happen overnight. Especially this is inner change, but you can be at peace with yourself, and then you can find a path to move forward.
There's also, I mean, relationships are, there's a negotiated compromise, right? To a certain degree, that if you aren't getting what you want here, as long as your partner is, because that just doesn't work for some reason, as long as your partner is a good supportive person for you in enough other respects, then maybe that's enough, and you don't have to get what you're looking for in this other part, right? So that is a possibility. But if the person isn't trying, they're not interested, and they don't care what you feel about things in general, that's there's a point that that's a different thing.
Like the partner not quite understand you, right? That happens because we're a different person, right? So nobody can 100% understand everything about you. So knowing that, you want to communicate and then be honest about your fear, what you're afraid of, and I don't want to be this way, and don't hide what you're afraid of, and then explain why you want this. Right? I explain why I want bedtime 10 o'clock, unreasonable time for him, and then explain because this, I don't want to be like this, I need that. Explain and being honest, not hiding anything and trying to be somebody else, right? I'm just being me and expressing my pain, and then he understands partially, at least, right? He cannot be in me, so he doesn't feel all the things, but logically he understands, and then we can go somewhere, right? If I'm just saying that I want 10 o'clock period, then it's like I'm just being selfish, right? So every situation is different, every couples are different, so there's not just one answer, but being honest to yourself, and no fooling yourself. It's a really, really good start, and you want to keep it that way all the time.
If we didn't cover your question fully, you can just let us know. I think we covered this, but I just want to touch on it to be sure. It means this whole thing means taking full responsibility for what belongs to you. So owning your side, right? You can't expect other people to do all their part and then not do your side, right?
Yeah.
So there's all of that. And then you talked a little bit about this, about being aware of motivations, what's behind things, the fear underneath it. Because when you're upset, there's going to be fear underneath. That's where it's coming from. And so if this stuff is hard, there's going to be limiting subconscious beliefs in this. There's all kinds of things you can do without getting into that necessarily, but if you're running up against something that just isn't moving, if you're stuck, then there's going to be a subconscious belief involved. And that's like that's why, working with you is such an advantage, because you can identify that if I'm not even able to, right? So you're able to guide me through the process of understanding where it's coming from, right? So I do the work. I do try to find out my own motivations as best I can, right? But I have my own limitations, and if I'm up against my subconscious and there's something deep in there that I'm not aware of, that can get in there, and that's why working with a psychic can be so helpful in dealing with this. So, yeah, thank you, Kim. Appreciate your comment there. That's very helpful. And we're glad we were able to address your question there. We do have a breakthrough session that you can come to, where we can figure out what to do about subconscious limits, right? Because those are really tough. Those are the ones that keep people stuck, keep them suffering, keep them, doing this stuff, right? And that's what we're talking about today. Is if you're in a relationship jam and you've worked at it and it just doesn't seem to be getting past it, then there's a good chance that there's subconscious beliefs involved, and we can talk about what to do about them in a free life breakthrough session. Come stop on by anytime. We'd love to see you, and we'll see you next week on Aether. So please subscribe if you like this and share it. And next week at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll do another episode here, and we'll take another step. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.